It was a breezy afternoon in the city park. Sunlight spilled through the swaying trees, casting golden patterns on the path. Raito and Shiro wandered aimlessly, chatting, laughing, and kicking at loose pebbles. Around them, the park buzzed, children chasing bubbles, dogs tugging at leashes, and the soft chime of an ice cream cart drifting on the wind. Then they smelled it. A warm, savory aroma slipped through the air, rich and mouth-watering. Both boys froze. "Wait, do you smell that?" Shiro asked, lifting his nose and sniffing like a curious puppy. Raito frowned thoughtfully. "Yeah, something noodle-y. Spicy. And sweet." Before he could say more, Shiro was off, drawn by the scent like a magnet. He darted past trees and patches of sunlit grass until he stopped at a large, ancient banyan tree. Behind it, almost hidden, stood a little noodle cart with a red canopy and gentle clouds of steam curling from its window. An elderly man stood behind the cart, smiling kindly as he stirred a bubbling pot. "Welcome," he said. "Care to try the mystery noodle?" Shiro was instantly thrilled. "Yes, please," he chirped, bouncing in place. But Raito hesitated. "What's in it?" he asked, eyeing the cart cautiously. "Is it something weird?" The old man chuckled softly, clearly amused. "Ah," he said, "that's the mystery. That's the fun." Before Raito could decide, Shiro had already taken a huge slurp. His eyes lit up with joy. "Whoa! This is amazing!" he exclaimed. "It's like spicy mango, roasted peanuts, and something else I can't explain." Raito blinked. That didn't sound so bad. Slowly, he took a bite. The flavor hit him like a surprise party in his mouth. Sweet, spicy, tangy, and totally delicious. His face broke into an unexpected grin. They found a park bench nearby and sat down, happily slurping away as the sun began to dip toward the horizon. "I guess trying something new isn't the worst thing," Raito admitted, wiping sauce from his lips. "Told you," Shiro said, nudging him. Street food safari, day 1, complete success. As they wandered off into the deepening gold of the evening, the old vendor gave them a little wave, his cart already hidden again behind the tree, like it had been waiting just for them. Lesson: you never know what magic you'll find, until you're brave enough to take a bite. Day 2, Taco Trouble. The weekend street fair was alive with color and sound, laughter, music, and the mouth-watering aroma of foods from every corner of the world. Bright stalls stretched down the street, each one tempting with new flavors and sizzling treats. But Shiro wasn't stopping to look. His eyes had locked onto one thing. "Tacos!" he shouted, dashing toward a bright orange food truck at the far end of the lane. He nearly tripped in his excitement, racing up to the counter without so much as a glance at the menu. The open toppings bar was a dream come true. Cheese, lettuce, guacamole, sauces galore. Shiro dove in, piling on spoonfuls of everything he liked. Sour cream? Yes. Extra cheese? Of course. Lettuce? Why not? And then he scooped on a big dollop of bright red salsa, without a second thought. But as he looked at it, his nose crinkled. "EWW, this red stuff looks like yucky goo," he blurted. Suddenly, the noise around them seemed to hush. The chef behind the counter paused mid-chop, his knife resting beside a pile of fresh cilantro. His smile faded, and his eyes grew quiet. Just then, Raito jogged up beside Shiro, panting from the run. "Shiro," he said gently, "that salsa isn't just some sauce. The chef told me, it's his grandmother's recipe. Handed down through generations. It's special." Shiro blinked. His face flushed. "Oh, I didn't know," he said softly, turning toward the chef. "I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings." The chef studied him for a moment, then smiled. "It's okay," he said kindly. "Want to try it the way my abuela made it? Just one bite." He grabbed a fresh taco shell and carefully layered each ingredient. Spiced meat, chopped onions, crumbled cheese, fresh cilantro, and finally, a perfect spoonful of the family salsa. Shiro took a bite. His eyes lit up. "Whoa! This is incredible," he said with a full mouth, eyes wide in wonder. Raito laughed. "Told you. Every culture has its own flavor. You just have to taste it with respect." Shiro nodded slowly, savoring every bite of the taco like it was a gift. Day 3, Popsicle Panic. The sun was high and blazing, turning the sidewalks into toasty griddles. Raito and Shiro trudged down the street, shirts sticking to their backs, beads of sweat rolling down their faces. Then, like a mirage in a desert, they saw it. A cheerful popsicle cart stood on the corner, its umbrella casting a sliver of shade. The cooler burst with colorful treats: purple grape, ruby cherry, sunny orange, each one sparkling like icy jewels in the sun. "I want grape, cherry, and orange," Shiro shouted, snatching 3 popsicles with both hands. But as he spun around, one slipped free. Splat! The cherry popsicle hit the pavement, melting fast into a sticky red puddle. "Oops!" Shiro winced. Raito crossed his arms, eyeing the mess. "You didn't even need that many. You can only eat one at a time." Before Shiro could answer, a tiny voice piped up beside them. A little boy, no older than 5, stood with a crumpled dollar in his hand. His face fell as he looked at the empty cart. The vendor gave him an apologetic shrug. "Sorry, kiddo. All out." Shiro glanced down at the melting popsicle on the ground. Then at the 2 in his hands. Then at the boy. He knelt down and offered one with a smile. "Here. I grabbed more than I needed anyway." The boy's face lit up with pure joy. "Thank you," he said, clutching the treat and running off to show his parents. Raito raised an eyebrow. "Feeling generous today?" Shiro gave a small grin, licking his great popsicle. "Yeah. Next time, I'll only take what I'm actually going to eat." The 2 walked off together, the sun still blazing, but their hearts feeling a little lighter. Lesson: take only what you need. Wasting food means someone else might miss out on something sweet. Day 4, Churro Chase. The fairgrounds buzzed with energy, bright lights, spinning rides, and music drifting through the summer air. But it was the scent of cinnamon and sugar that caught Shiro's attention first. His ears twitched at the screech of wheels. A red and gold churro cart came zooming past, swerving around corners and scattering a flock of pigeons into the sky. The vendor, a grinning man with wild hair and goggles, shouted as he steered with one hand and flung sugar into the air with the other. "Catch the churro cart and win a golden stick!" Shiro's eyes sparkled. "Golden stick! I'm in!" He took off at full speed, dodging cotton candy carts, leaping over puddles, weaving through laughing kids and startled parents. His sandals slapped the pavement like thunder. Meanwhile, Raito stayed perfectly still. His eyes tracked the cart's path. "Let's see. Left turn at the carousel. Down the hill near the lemonade stand." He visualized a shortcut and calmly jogged off in the opposite direction. As Shiro sprinted wildly, Raito met the churro cart head-on, just as it came skidding around the last corner. Seconds later, a breathless Shiro arrived, grinning from ear to ear. "We did it," he panted. The vendor laughed, wiping sugar from his goggles. "A prize for teamwork," he declared, handing them a churro dusted in shimmering gold flakes. It sparkled in the sunlight like something out of a storybook. But before they could take a bite, a soft cry called out behind them. An elderly woman had tripped while trying to join the chase. Her cane lay a few feet away, and her purse had tumbled open. Without hesitation, Shiro ran to help her sit up gently. Raito gathered her things with care. "Are you okay, Mom?" they asked together. The woman smiled weakly, touched by their kindness. "I was chasing a dream," she said, "but I'm glad I found kindness instead." As they walked her to a nearby bench, Shiro broke off a piece of the golden churro and handed it to her. She accepted it with teary eyes. "Thank you, boys. That means more than gold." Raito turned to Shiro with a knowing grin. Helping someone feels even better than winning. And as the sun dipped low behind the fairground rides, the golden churro gleamed, not just because it was rare or sweet, but because it had been shared. Lesson: the sweetest rewards come from teamwork, kindness, and caring for others. Day 5. The Biryani Secret. The alley was narrow, shaded, and alive with sizzling sounds and clinking pots. But what truly filled the space was the smell, thick, spicy, and so strong it almost felt alive. "Ugh, what is that?" Shiro gagged, pulling his sleeve over his nose. The air swirled with roasted spices, fried onions, and something bold and unfamiliar. It wrapped around him like smoky perfume, and he did not like it. Raito, ever the explorer, leaned in eagerly. "It smells intense," he said. "Like something ancient is cooking." They had wandered into a hidden market tucked deep in the old part of the city. Stalls crowded the cobbled street, each one sizzling with color and life. And in the middle of it all stood a gentle woman with a saffron scarf wrapped neatly over her hair, stirring a giant pot that steamed like a volcano. Her eyes twinkled with mischief. "Would you boys like to try some biryani?" she asked, her voice soft and kind. Shiro took a full step back. "No thanks," he muttered. "I think I'll pass." Raito elbowed him. "Shiro, come on. Where's your food bravery today?" Before Shiro could protest further, the woman offered them each a small, steaming bowl. Inside, golden rice laced with shimmering herbs, tender meat, and spices that seemed to tell secrets in the rising steam. Raito took a bite immediately. His eyes widened. "Whoa," he breathed. "This is incredible. Shiro, you have to try this." Shiro frowned at the bowl in his hands. It still smelled weird, but something in Raito's voice, genuine wonder, made him hesitate. He lifted a cautious spoonful to his mouth. Boom! Flavors exploded. Sweet, spicy, earthy, and bold. It was like tasting a festival, a story, a dance of spices on his tongue. He blinked, stunned. "It's like a tale in my mouth," he whispered. The woman laughed gently. "Every grain of rice tells a story," she said. "This dish is made for celebrations. It carries love, memory, and tradition." Shiro looked up at her, surprised. "I didn't think I'd like it. I almost missed this." Raito grinned. "Lesson learned. Don't judge a dish by its smell." As they walked away, their bowls empty and hearts full, Shiro glanced back at the saffron-scarfed woman stirring her pot. He smiled. That day, he realized something important. The best flavors and the best stories begin when you step outside your comfort zone. Lesson: don't judge food or people before giving them a chance. Day 6, Bubble Tea Bonanza. It was a sunny afternoon when Shiro stumbled upon a colorful bubble tea stand tucked between two buildings in the bustling city plaza. The signs were impossible to miss. Bright, bold letters screamed, "Boba Bliss, buy one, get one free." Shiro's eyes lit up like a kid in a candy store. Just one cup, he told himself confidently. But then came the sweet scent of brown sugar syrup, the gleam of tapioca pearls swirling in ice-cold tea, and the cheerful slurps of happy customers all around him. One cup became two, then three, then somehow, four. By the time Raito found him, Shiro was sprawled on a bench, cheeks sticky with sugar, eyes half shut. A half-empty taro boba cup slipped from his hand and rolled lazily onto the ground. "Shiro?" Raito asked, eyebrow raised. No response. Shiro rose slowly, like a sugar-charged zombie, and began wandering across the plaza, headed straight for a large decorative fountain. Eyes glazed, feet dragging, he muttered, Mochi milk tea, with pudding." "Shiro!" Raito shouted, sprinting after him. Just in time, he grabbed the back of Shiro's hoodie, yanking him away from the fountain's edge. Shiro blinked, groggy and confused. "What? Where's the boba?" Raito couldn't help laughing. "Moderation, my friend. Moderation." Shiro groaned, rubbing his forehead. "No more boba for today, maybe." Raito gave him a playful nudge. "Next time, I'm putting a cap on your tapioca pearls." As they strolled off together under the setting sun, the glow of the plaza lights twinkled like a galaxy of boba pearls. Beautiful, tempting, but better in small doses. Lesson of the day: enjoy your favorite treats, but don't overdo it. Even the sweetest things are best in moderation. Day 7, Corn Cob Capers. The summer sun hung high in the sky, casting golden light across the city park. Shiro and Raito strolled along the winding paths, surrounded by laughter, running feet, and the warm, comforting scent of roasted corn drifting from a nearby food store. Near the picnic area, a group of kids had invented a new game, tossing leftover corn cobs like frisbees. They cheered and laughed as the cobs spun through the air, flopping onto the grass with soft thuds. Shiro's eyes lit up. "That looks fun," he said, dashing over to join. He grabbed a corn cob and gave it a mighty spin, but his aim was way off. Thunk! The cob smacked into a squirrel quietly nibbling under a tree. The squirrel let out a sharp squeak and bolted up the trunk in a flash of fur. Raito winced. "Yikes! That wasn't cool, Shiro." Shiro's face turned crimson. "I didn't mean to. I just got carried away." They looked around. The grassy field was scattered with corn husks, crushed napkins, and bits of trash. What had started as a fun game had left a mess behind. With a sigh, Shiro began picking up the scattered cobs. Raito joined him without a word. Together, they cleaned up, not just their mess, but other litter nearby too. When they finished, Raito pulled a marker from his backpack and scribbled a message on a piece of cardboard they'd found under a bench. He stuck it in the grass where the game had been. The sign read, "Respect nature. Don't litter." From the corn stand nearby, the vendor who had been watching came over with a smile. "Thanks for looking out for the park," he said, handing them 2 fresh roasted corn cobs. The golden kernels shimmered, warm and buttery. They found a shady spot under the very tree where the squirrel had retreated. As they munched their corn in peaceful silence, the squirrel peeked out from above, either forgiving them, or maybe just eyeing their snacks. Shiro grinned. "Next time, maybe just eat the corn." Raito chuckled. Agreed. With bellies full and a small lesson tucked away, they sat quietly under the tree, proud of the little good they'd done. Lesson: fun is great, but kindness and care for nature make it even better. Day 8. Waffle Wobble. The morning air was thick with the sweet scent of vanilla and maple syrup, drifting through the festival grounds like a sugary breeze. It was day 8 of the summer festival, and the crowd had gathered for one delicious reason: the Great Waffle Off. Children lined long tables, batter bowls and toppings at the ready. Waffle irons hissed with steam, and a row of clipboard-holding judges moved slowly down the line, observing with serious expressions. Raito, ever the perfectionist, had everything dialed in. His iron preheated, batter measured to the milliliter, fruit slices arranged in a symmetrical fan. His waffle was golden and crisp, a work of breakfast art. Next to him, Shiro looked like he'd survived a flower explosion. Batter smeared his shirt, and his waffle was, well, unique. Wobbly, uneven, and topped with what looked suspiciously like gummy bears. Raito raised an eyebrow. "Ah, it wobbles." Shiro beamed. "It's expressionist. Not supposed to make sense, just supposed to make people hungry." Before Raito could respond, a small sniffle interrupted them. At the end of the table, a boy no older than 7 stared at his own waffle disaster. Burnt on one side, gooey on the other, toppings scattered like they'd been thrown by a confetti cannon. His lip trembled. Shiro leaned toward Raito. "We should help him." Raito hesitated. "But the contest." Then he looked at the boy's watery eyes and nodded. "Right. Let's do it." Together, they sprang into action. Raito donated a perfect half waffle and some fruit slices. Shiro drizzled syrup like a painter with a brush and showed the boy how to pile whipped cream into a snowy swirl. A sprinkle of rainbow toppings later, the disaster was transformed into a fairy tale creation. When the judges arrived, they paused. The waffle wasn't the most polished, but the 3 beaming faces behind it told a different story. "This," the head judge said with a smile, "is today's teamwork waffle." They didn't win first place. No golden spatula, no ribbon. But as the 3 of them sat nearby sharing bites of the sweet, gooey creation, syrup sticking to their fingers and laughter bubbling out like steam, Shiro grinned with a full mouth. "Best waffle ever." Raito smiled, and the little boy giggled, cheeks still sticky with whipped cream. Because sometimes, the real prize isn't the trophy, it's knowing you turned someone's bad day into a better one. Lesson: helping someone feels better than winning. Day 9. The Dosa Dilemma. The afternoon sun beamed down over the vibrant street market, casting golden light over food stalls and crowds. The air shimmered with the scent of sambar, tangy tamarind, coconut chutney, and crispy lentils. Shiro and Raito followed their noses through the chaos until they found it, a South Indian food stall where a man spun dosas on a sizzling iron griddle like edible magic. Shiro's eyes sparkled. "I want to try flipping one," he exclaimed, practically bouncing. The vendor laughed, clearly entertained. "You, flip dosa." He handed over the spatula with a grin. "Be my guest." Raito crossed his arms. "Are you sure about this?" But Shiro was already behind the griddle, determination blazing in his eyes. He slid the spatula under a half-cooked dosa and, with a confident flick, whoosh! Splat! The dosa soared through the air, and landed with precision on the head of a sleeping street dog nearby. Everyone froze. The vendor's eyes widened. A collective gasp rippled through the line. Even the sizzling of the griddle seemed to pause. The dog blinked, startled, then began happily munching the dosa directly off its own back. Shiro stood frozen. I didn't mean." Before things could escalate, Raito quickly stepped in. "No harm done. Except maybe that dosa's self-esteem." Laughter bubbled from the crowd. The vendor sighed, half scolding, half smiling. Shiro stepped forward with a deep bow. "I'm really sorry," he said sincerely. "I'll clean it up, and I'll pay for the dosa." The vendor studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Good. Accidents happen. But it matters that you make it right." Together, they cleaned the area, and Shiro handed over payment with sheepish gratitude. The vendor, clearly softening, gestured him back toward the griddle. "Come," he said. "This time, I teach you." With careful coaching, Shiro tried again. The dosa flipped cleanly. Golden, round, and perfect. A small cheer went up from nearby onlookers. "Not bad, dosa boy," the vendor said, clapping him on the back. Even the dog returned, tail wagging, clearly hoping for another flying snack. Raito grinned. "You've officially earned your dosa license." Shiro beamed, cheeks still red. But this time, it was with pride. Lesson of the day. Everyone makes mistakes, but it's how you respond that shows your character.